All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network just released his first mock draft of the offseason. And in this one, I wanted to break down who he has the Jets selecting with that 7th overall pick. He has him going with Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, someone who put up a monster season, over 1,200 receiving yards, over 100 catches, 8 touchdowns on the year, 6'6", over 250 pounds. The guy, like, he's just nasty. Right, he runs aggressively. He seeks out contact. He never goes down on first contact. He just he reminds me of like an old school football player. He's such a massive target for the quarterback to throw to, but at the same time, he moves around really smoothly. Right, he's just such a fluid athlete in space with the football in his hands. But then again, at the same time, he kind of seeks out the contact when he sees like a safety coming down on him, or maybe he's trying to take it up the sidelines. He's not going to just step out of bounds and call it a day. No, he's almost like you feel like in his mind he's like, come on, please try to tackle me. I'm going to just humiliate this guy, stiff arm him into the turf, or I'm going to try to truck him over, do something crazy. I like that sort of aggression. I like Tyler Warren a lot. I think he is the best tight end in this class. I also really like Loveland from Michigan, but this pick, I think we have to. I mean, so right now, obviously, it's as far as like the date or the recording of this video here, Saturday, January 25th. We don't know who the OC is going to be. We don't know the offensive system, so that is the kind of the caveat here. So not to get too technical with it. The Jets need a tight end. We need one desperately. Tyler Conklin sets at the open market. We haven't had a young, dynamic tight end that can, do damage in the passing game like Warren in I don't even know how long. So he would clearly come in and be a huge boost for whoever's going to be calling plays for this team. Funny enough, if Nick Caley goes out and gets the job, right, coming over from the LA Rams, where's his background in? Tight ends, right? Tight end development. Who did he work with in New England? Rob Gronkowski. Another just one of those aggressive, physical, big but fluid types of tight ends that are just so dangerous, such a weapon in the passing game. But of course, again, we don't know who the OC is, so to mock a tight end in the top 10 is pretty bold. Brock Bowers was considered like a I don't want to throw this word out there a lot, but I think it's worthy for Brock Bowers, a generational type of tight end. He didn't even make it into the top 10. Although I really like him, I think in an ideal situation, I would like the Jets to maybe try to move back into those early teens, maybe that mid-first round to go out and select Warren, because I think a lot of teams probably will pass on Warren to select other needs. So if there's maybe a team that would like to come up to spot number 7, I do think the Jets trying to maybe accumulate more draft picks would really do them well, especially because we don't have that pick from the Devontae Adams trade. We don't have the pick from the Hassan Reddick trade. That, of course, impacts the team in 2026. But if you're just looking at the pool of draft picks, it's just one less that the Jets don't have that they traded away. So ideally, try to move back and select a Tyler Warren. I would be totally cool with that. Some other names to watch. I feel like McMillan at the wide receiver position is an interesting option if the Jets trade away Devontae Adams. Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan, is kind of the player that I feel like I've seen linked to the Jets the most from fans, like just in mock drafts and stuff like that. Because the thought. Think about you as an opposing quarterback playing the Jets. Think about walking up to the line of scrimmage and looking at the defensive line, Jermaine Johnson, Quinnen Williams, Mason Graham, and then, of course, Will McDonald on the opposite side. Talk about 4 guys that have not reached their ceiling, 4 guys that can all rush the passer, 4 guys that can all win one-on-one matchups, 4 guys that Aaron Glenn can continue to mold and get better, right? Push them in the right direction. I mean, man, the sky would be the limit if for the defensive line if Mason Graham was the pick. But a lot of speculation that he's not going to drop to spot number 7. Of course, I mean, it's freaking January. Anything can happen. But someone else I honestly would take a really hard look at is Will Johnson. Personally, I think Will Johnson can be a cornerback 1 at the next level. Someone who's performed well in zone coverage, someone who's performed well in man coverage. He's versatile. Someone to me who doesn't really have a ton of weaknesses, right, when I watch him. He's long, 6'2", 200 pounds. a bigger corner, takes risks on the outside. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. But I think, again, with coaching, with film study, with working with a great defensive mind, that I would rather have a corner that is trigger happy, willing to take those gambles, than to have someone that's maybe scared of making those plays and is going to continue to play it safe, because you can take that trait and, again, kind of polish it and hone that over time. The more he watches film, the more he picks up on offensive tendencies, and the more he works with a good defensive staff. Someone who has, I think, just a ton of just potential to get better. And it's also someone who's played in a lot of games. I believe he's actually started in over 30 games at the collegiate level. Now, I will say, missed a lot of time last season due to turf toe, only played in 6 games, but I think that would be a really, really interesting pick. So if we were to take a look at the cornerback room here, it would be Michael Carter, one of the best slot corners in football, locking down the nickel position, and he's also one of the highest paid nickel backs. We would have Gardner on the outside, and I do think him working with Aaron Glenn, he's going to maximize Gardner's talents. At least that's my hope, my optimistic hope. I hope he starts trending positively, and again, I do think that is going to happen. But ultimately, right, if that's the case, Gardner's probably going to want a ton of money. So if you're Darren Muji, you have a lot of money wrapped up in Michael Carter. You got to imagine that Gardner's going to be asking for a ton of money at some point. Here's a really, really good opportunity to go add another cornerback 1 to the team that you're going to be getting on a cheap deal for 5 years. I love the sound of that, right? 2 corner 1s on the outside who are still young, and they're going to be working with former All-Pro cornerback Aaron Glenn with Michael Carter in the slot. Talk about, that is awesome when you think about just upside. You could argue that's the best young corner duo in the National Football League. And it also eliminates the money that the Jets would have to use in free agency or a potential trade to add another corner. Assuming Aaron Glenn runs the same type of system that we've seen the last couple of seasons with Detroit, those man-to-man corners are so important. Guys that could just hang with wide receivers, stay hip to hip with them. So, that need is there. But does Darren Muji here want to invest so much dollars, so many millions of dollars in the cornerback position, right? We can go out and target one in free agency, and yeah, that'd be a sweet upgrade. But if we have to go pay someone $11-12 million on top of paying Michael Carter what he's getting paid, and again, a Gardner extension is going to be coming at some point, you'd like to think that's a lot of money wrapped up in corner. But again, I think ideally for me, a trade back is where I'm thinking the Jets should move. Obviously, it takes 2 teams to accomplish that, but we'll see how it plays out. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on this. Would you like Tyler Warren, tight end from Penn State, at spot number 7 for the Jets? Anyway, let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.